Welcome to another beautiful Friday afternoon. This is TV Sapienta News at 1. I am Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. The Anambra State chapter of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has issued a 21-day ultimatum to the state government over excessive levies imposed by local councils and the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service. Speaking at a meeting held on Wednesday at the Opet petrol station in Agwaka, IPMAN expressed deep dissatisfaction, claiming that its members have been subjected to undue harassment and arbitrary fees that contravene previous agreements with the state government. IPMAN threatened to shut down petroleum services across the state if these issues remain unresolved. Chairman of IPMAN Enugu Depot Community, Comrade Chinedu Anyaso, noted that while members previously paid a monthly levy of 120,000 naira, they have recently seen demanded for fees soaring between 500,000 naira to 700,000 naira, making it difficult for them to operate smoothly in the state. I also noted that despite attempts to engage with local authorities, efforts yielded no positive outcomes. Instead, their members are being molested and extorted. Responding, the executive chairman of the Anambra State Board of Internal Revenue, Dr. Greg Ezilo, appealed for patience, assuring the marketers of Governor Soludo's commitment to transparent and productive use of tax revenue. He also promised to organize a tour of state projects to showcase how the governor is deploying resources for a positive transformation within Anambra State. President Bola Tinubu reaffirms Nigerians' commitment to supporting Mali's democratic transition and deepening economic ties between the two nations, declaring that West African countries are stronger when united. The president said this on Thursday in Abuja to Malian leaders, General Assimi Goita, while receiving the letter of credence from the ambassador of the Republic of Mali, Sheikh Umar Coulibaly. He assured them that the federal government is open to any support it can render and ever ready to exchange ideas. The ambassador of Mali thanked the president for consistently providing leadership for the sub-region and the continent. Coulibaly said Nigeria had maintained its leadership role in Africa while acknowledging the Nigerian military supply of troops to various UN peace missions on the continent and the sub-region. Niger State, the governor Mohamed Bago has extended maternity leave for women in the state from 3 months to 6 months, saying it would give enough time to care for their babies and themselves. The governor made this known during the week's Executive Council meeting at the Council Chamber of the Government House, Mina, where he announced other enactments for the benefit of the residents. According to him, the leave extension would help them become more productive when they resume, and directed the head of service, Abubakar Idris, to work out modalities for the proper implementation of the policy. Governor Bago further said the maternity leave aims to protect maternal and child health in line with the international best practices. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Binta Maman, who briefed journalists after the council meeting, disclosed other measures approved by the Niger State government to improve the lives of the residents in the state, which include the approval of 1.3 billion naira to procure 23,000 chairs for the state's primary and secondary schools, among others. The managing director of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, Akitunde Soya, reveals that the agency may consider extending its student loan scheme to private institutions within the next 3 years. Soya made this known during a strategic engagement and sensitization campaign with heads of state institutions and other stakeholders in Enugu State yesterday. He noted that while the current focus is on addressing the urgent needs of students in public universities and colleges, the long-term objective is to ensure that all Nigerian students, regardless of institution type, can access financial aid for their education. Soya, however, acknowledged that the fund faces challenges, particularly regarding public perception and misinformation. Also speaking at the event, the special advisor to the Enugu State Governor on Education Innovation, Dr. Chinyere Onyisi, stressed the importance of the loan program as a crucial support system for students. She urged institutional leaders present to carry the message back to their schools and educate students on the application process. The chairman of BUA Group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, has pledged to further lower the prices of rice and other food items, which he said have already decreased over the past year. Rabiu also commended President Bola Tinubu for granting waiver on imported food items, saying that his foresight helped crash food prices in the country. Speaking to her State House correspondent after meeting with President Tinubu on Thursday, Rabiu said BUA Foods keyed into the policy and was able to import quite a lot of wheat, maize and rice. According to him, maize is about 30,000 naira, which happened because of President Tinubu's foresight and vision by introducing one-off-duty waiver for a period of 6 months. And with that, they've been able to bring down the prices of these commodities. BUA Chairman also said that Rice Millers Association has come together to address the issue of hoarding by some companies, adding that the association will not allow any of its members to hoard rice. Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service contained a minor fire outbreak on Wednesday afternoon at Ifako Ijaye General Hospital, Lagos State. The director of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Margaret Adesenye, confirmed the incident and the emergency team's response. The fire, which broke out in a nursing room on the second floor of the hospital's main 3-story building, was reported around 3 p.m. on Wednesday, but emergency responders arrived promptly and successfully put off the flames, preventing the fire from spreading and causing further damage to the facility. Adesenye said the incident was confined in the room where it originated due to the rapid intervention. She added that no casualty was recorded and there was no disruption to healthcare services, as normal operations have since resumed, with medical services to the public continuing without interruption. In Plateau State, at least 10 people have been killed and several cows rustled in renewed violence in Riom local government area of the state. The recent escalation of violence in Riom started with farm destruction, cattle rustling and attacks on livestock carried out by individuals from both Fulani and Berom communities. In a statement from Operation Safe Haven, the recent insecurity in the council area began on Monday, May 12, 2025, when suspected youths slaughtered and rustled cattle that had encroached on their farms in Dayan village, Riom, local government area of the state. In retaliation, suspected Fulani herders attacked Danchindo village on the evening of May 13, killing 4 people before fleeing ahead of security operatives' arrival. Also on May 14, 26 cows were killed and several others injured in the Dawat community, allegedly in reprisal for the earlier killings of locals. Later that day, suspected Fulani militias retaliated by attacking an isolated settlement near the Werenkam community, killing 6 locals. Upon receiving reports of rising tensions in Riom, officers of the Joint Security Task Force engaged communities' representatives to broker peace and warned against actions that could further destabilize the fragile situation. Major General Folusho Oyinlola, Commander of Operation Safe Haven and General Officer commanding 3 Division, visited the area and met with stakeholders and community leaders, assuring that normalcy has returned, supported by the presence of security operatives working to maintain law and order. Also, Governor Kele Mufwang labeled them genocidal and an attempt at land grabbing. Glad to have you back here with us on TV Sapienta News. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will depart Abuja for Rome tomorrow at the invitation of Pope Leo XIV to attend his inauguration. In a statement released by the presidency announcing President Tinubu's presence at the Holy See, disclosed that President Tinubu will attend a solemn mass marking the beginning of the pontificate of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV. In a papal invitation sent by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Pope Leo XIV underscored the need for President Tinubu's physical presence at this moment of particular importance for the Catholic Church and the world afflicted by many tensions and conflict. Pope Leo in the letter further stressed that Nigeria is there to him following his service in the Apostolic Nunciature in Lagos during the 1980s. President Tinubu will be accompanied by top Catholic leaders, has in his entourage the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Biaka Odumegu Ojukwu, Archbishop of Owerri and President of Catholic Bishops Conference of Nigeria, Archbishop Lucius Ugoji, Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama of Abuja, and Alfred Martins of Lagos State, and the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Hassan Kuka. The President is expected to return to Abuja on Tuesday, May 20, 2025. Now to the foreign scene. The wife of Gabon ousted President Sylvia Bongo and their son, Nureddin Bongo, they have been moved from prison to house arrest, according to sources. Recall that Bongos were detained shortly after Ali Bongo was overthrown in a military coup more than a year and a half ago, and have been held in basement cells within the presidential palace in Libreville. The decision to transfer them to house arrest was made on May 9 after significant pressure from African Union officials advocating for their release. However, it remains unclear when they will face trial for alleged financial crimes. The couple faces accusation of embezzlement and money laundering, with supporters claiming they were tortured during their detention. President Brice Oligui Nguema, who assumed office in May, denied any allegations of torture in an interview in March, insisting that their trials would proceed. U.S. President Donald Trump said on Thursday that Washington is very close to reaching a nuclear deal with Iran after Tehran agreed to its terms. Iranian officials haven't publicly commented on Trump's remark, though the comments were reported by the country's semi-official ISNA news agency. CNN has requested a comment from Iran's mission to the United Nations. However, speaking at a business roundtable in the Qatari capital, Doha, Trump reiterated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and suggested that negotiators are getting very close to maybe doing a deal. During his Gulf tour, Trump has repeatedly warned that Iran must never obtain a nuclear weapon, threatening to strike the country if it fails to reach a nuclear deal. But he has not explicitly ruled out Iran enriching uranium on its own soil. While uranium is used as a nuclear fuel, it can be weaponized if enriched to high level. Meanwhile, Iran has said that its right to enrich uranium is non-negotiable, but the Trump administration has sent mixed signals on its position on the matter. It is unclear what Trump meant by nuclear dust, but Gulf states, including Qatar, are concerned that an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities could cause an environmental catastrophe in the region and drag them into a wider regional war. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian lambasted the threatening remarks by Trump while speaking to a group of academics during a gathering in Kermanshah province, saying that the U.S. president is naive for thinking that he can come to their region, threaten them, and hope that they back down against his demands, insisting that Iran will never negotiate their dignity. Now to the world of sports. South African has Flying Eagles of Nigeria 1-goal in a 10 semi-final clash at the Suez Canal Stadium on Thursday to book a place in the final of the CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations in Egypt. A well-taken header by Tyler Smith in the 66th minute proved decisive in a contested match between two of Africa's football powerhouses. The result also ends Nigerian hopes of winning a record-extending 8 Under-20 AFCON title. The Flying Eagles were dominant for large spells in the second half, but missed opportunities, particularly in the final moments when South African goalkeeper Fletcher Lowe produced a string of saves to deny Emmanuel Chukwu and Israel Ayuma goals. The win sees South Africa reach their second Under-20 AFCON final, their first since 1997 when they finished as runner-ups. Also, a court in Rio de Janeiro yesterday ordered the dismissal of Brazilian Football Federation head Ednardo Rodrigues, citing problems in the employment agreement. Rodrigues had already been temporarily suspended in 2023 after a court found errors with his 2022 election, but was reinstated on orders of a Supreme Court judge after FIFA threatened sanctions against Brazilian football. On Thursday, a judge ruled that an employment agreement between Rodrigues and the Brazilian Football Confederation was null and void. FIFA and the South American Football Confederation have refused to accept Rodrigues' 2023 ouster, warning the Brazilian football that it could be barred from international competitions if allowed external interference in its affairs. But the Real Court said Thursday one of the signatories of Rodriguez's 2025 contract had been mentally unfit to sign, meaning there had been possible forgery. Rodriguez, however, told journalists at a FIFA meeting in an Assumption on Thursday ahead of the judgment that he had absolutely certainty the document was valid. And to wrap it, and this is why we wrap it on our TV Sapienza News at 1, on behalf of the technical and editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ujo Bamdeli. Thank you for choosing TV Sapienza. Do have a beautiful Friday afternoon.